welcome back guys. Episode 3 now. Sorry, there's been a bit of a gap between the videos, but I've had ACL surgery in my right knee, and now it's time for me to get back. I've done a lot of physio, and now I'm back walking and can lift stuff, move stuff over here and get back to work. So that's where I've been. I've also been to Denmark over the Christmas and New Year break, and Copenhagen being one of my favourite cities in the world, due to the fact that the organic food, it goes from Michelin star restaurants all the way down to hospital food. So they've made a promise that they'll be 100% organic by 2016, and they've fulfilled that. I love that, how green they are, how everyone rides bikes everywhere. Just the sustainability in all their restaurants, even food waste doesn't go to landfill, they compost as much as possible, which I absolutely love. Also, they drink a lot of it, I noticed as well, they drink coffee out of flasks. So while I was there, I bought this clean canteen, insulated, and I've seen this in a lot of camping shops over in the UK as well, but it's a bit of a no-brainer really. It keeps your hot drinks warm for 8 hours, your cold drinks cold for 24 hours. So I've got my coconut coffee in there from a local coffee shop, and I could be over here for hours and hours and it will still stay warm. Also for work as well, when I'm up London, London being one city that drinks coffee by the gallon, and I was kind of shocked really how coffee cups don't really biodegrade as well as I thought, being a paper cup. Also they got the plastic on top, and that will be here longer than I'll be here, so which is kind of shocking, and how much of that gets used every day. It's just yeah, it's a bit bonkers, but it's not really what I believe in anymore. So I recommend getting one of these for yourself. It's a bit of a no-brainer really. Right, so guys, this video is going to be mainly about the plastic bottle greenhouse today, so I'll do a breakdown of how I built it. I've had a lot of interest on Instagram and also the allotment community, as well as people want me to go in to do talks for schools on how to build it and maybe do a project at the school themselves. And really I'm going to try and keep these vlogs more instead of they'll have a basis, but I want to keep you guys up to date, so it's more like a documentation of how I want to get from an allotment to the dream of having a farm and producing locally organic, nutrient dense food for people. Maybe have a cafe, a workspace where I should educate people, and yeah, also health and fitness as well, which I've got a few friends who want to get on board as well, and yeah, just do something different really, instead of the norm. We can see the future's going that way, so I've seen it happen when I was in Australia, when I was in Costa Rica, and I was man, that is the next step for the UK. We're just behind, and we're just so set in our ways here. So I feel it takes people like myself to just take that step and do something different. Even if people are laughing at you at first or think it's a bit different, they will come round, they will see that it's the right thing to do. Right, so also guys, I'm going to do a little update on the worms that was in my last video. I've got some food waste there from home. Ideally I'd like to use up all my food at home, but it's inevitable. You're going to get stuff that's going to go out of date quicker than usual, but the thing is, now I'm not bothered as much if I see that, only due to the fact that my food here, or my food at home that I'm going to bring here, goes to the worms. It goes in the compost bin, so it goes back in the soil. And I was explaining in my first video about the permaculture, how everything should be a closed loop system. So you plant your seeds, you grow your food, you harvest that food, and once it's done, all the scraps of that food go back into the soil, so it'll be eaten by the worms, as I said, compost down. So what I'm going to try and do a system where I'll get these buckets to my friends per week. I want to do a service where I'll go pick up the buckets from their houses. I'm going to try and get myself a bike that I saw in Denmark, a Christiana bike or a Dutch cargo bike. So it's got 2 wheels at the front, but it's got a box at the front. I mean, that's not really a thing here, but I'd like to make it a thing where I can pick up food waste it benefits me, it benefits them. Like everyone's got a good moral compass. They want to like recycle as much as possible. So I'm going to try and like do that myself instead of waiting for like the government to do it. I'm just going to do it myself. I need it, so it makes sense as well. And also go around to the coffee shops. I spoke to a few coffee shops today, and they said they'll happily give me the coffee suds as well. And then that can go back into the soil at like a micro level. Also, I believe worms like them as well. So again, like that goes back in the ground instead of it just being chucked in landfill. It's pointless. So yeah guys, next part of the video I'm just going to do like a speed up of like checking the worms, give them the compost, and then explain a little bit about that, and do a little tour of the patch, and then explain how and why I built this greenhouse and what's the functions of it and why it's good to have a greenhouse like this, and kind of like why I built it out of plastic. And so that's not the next part of the video guys. Guys, I thought I'll show you the measurements I've done it at, just to get a rough estimate like how many bottles you're going to need for this, like the size of the structure. So I've gone 6 foot wide, 6 foot high without including that roof, and then that's up to you how you want to add that on, as long as there's a gradient going down to the water butt as well. And I've done 8 foot long, and then that gives you a rough idea on like size. I mean, let's walk around. Look, got plenty of room. So this is where I'm gonna have like my microgreens in the spring. Gonna do 2 layers. I'm gonna build a better version of this because this is everywhere. Look at it, shocker. Just put it together in a rush really, but this season I'm going proper with this. So I'm gonna have like loads of pods for my microgreens. I'm gonna like look at growing lettuce, like bok choy, radish, like, and then also transplant. So start off in it early with my tomatoes, my peppers, etc. Just extend the season, start them at home under the heat mat, let them seed, get them to like a certain size where they're going to get a bit bigger. So they will start to harden them out here, get them used to the weather. But also I think like I've got enough room. I've put like a this is just full of my tools, but this is a bit of a mess, but you get an idea. You want to keep all your bits and bobs everywhere. But yeah, I'm gonna have this, maybe move that there, microgreens that side, and I might actually dig up the bottom and have my tomatoes growing up. So I'm just gonna add an extra bit of wood, so we'll have string going up, and then have my tomatoes growing up, so grow them inside this year, just because we're outside. The pores of blight was in the air at the allotment, and the last 2 years like people's tomatoes getting ruined. I mean, I had 2 sets of tomatoes. My cherry ones, they were fine. They had a little bit, but I was like sacrificed about 30%, where I had beefsteak tomatoes, and I literally got 1 out of like possible 100, 200 tomatoes. So yeah, that's going to be, this is like just an idea what I'm doing with my greenhouse. You can do whatever you want with yours. Right guys, so this is a little list of everything you're going to need. So I've got my timber for the greenhouse, for the frame of it. Mine is 6 centimeters by 4 centimeters. I'd say this is like maybe minimal measurement you want to go with. You wouldn't want to go with anything less. This survived a 30-mile-an-hour wind the other night, and people was like, oh, greenhouse is going to be finished, so come over here. And luckily, like, only a few canes popped out, but apart from that, it survived it. So that's like minimum wood dimensions I'd go with. If I'd do it again, I would have done it with something just a bit bigger, only purely the fact I want it to last. Third thing I didn't do, which I still like, I've not completely finished, I'd get yourself some wood stain, just prolong the life of the wood and of the greenhouse itself. Another thing you're going to need, canes. I was getting 8-foot canes and cutting them down to about the 6-foot size I needed, only purely the fact that 8-foot ones are thicker and these are going to last as well. Bottles, these things you're going to need 1,000 of them. I mean, it sounds daunting to get 1,000, but this is an ongoing project, so just collect them as and when you can, and you'll be shocked if you ask people or go to restaurants how many of these you're going to get. You're going to literally be getting to the point where people are going to be throwing them at you. I got 1,000 bottles in about a month to 6 weeks, so yeah guys, just it ain't as daunting. At first you get like, I do like a few bags, and then it got to the point where I was literally turning them away. So that just shows the shocking stat of how many bottles are literally out there and how quick you can get 1,000 bottles. You think it's pretty shocking stuff, but at least you're doing something good with them. Next thing, these brackets. I've got from site. You can get stuff like this from B&Q, or at the minute Aldi are doing. I saw these, so I picked them up for future projects, but they've got the angles there, and yeah, really easy, and they do all the inside of the wood, which I'll show you. So the inside, and then you can get a 90-degree brackets to the outside. So it just make sure everything is buttoned up properly. As I said, like, I think the way I've probably constructed this, it's lasted the winds. It's going to last me a long time. I'm hoping for this to be here for a while. Also guys, to cut your bottles as well, you're going to need a good Stanley knife with a blade, because you're going to be cutting 1,000 of these bottles. That's the tedious part of this process. Hammer, fix these little guys. These can be picked up from B&Q. Also, they're going to go on the top and the bottom that you're going to see in the video when I thread the last line on. I'm going to you just hammer it in pretty much. If your cane's a bit bigger than the actual thing, instead of ruining it, just smashing it apart, just edge a little notch out with the jigsaw or a saw if you haven't got a jigsaw, and then yeah, it's easy as that. Screws. That's the measurement I used. Nice brass screw there. And the length's important as well, because you just want to get it in and get a nice good bite on it as well. So I've got the thread all the way to the top. So that should be everything guys. Oh, also I'll show you the roof as well. These are just cut out with a jigsaw, this being an old conservatory from a neighbour. Luckily I asked people around if they're chucking out any kind of perspex like this, and funny enough, like, an old neighbour's chucking out a conservatory. I've got a few lengths of it, cut it down, and it's been perfect, like, so that's protecting the wind from coming in, and it's a great roof for the water runoff as well, it just being plastic. I've put some tape in between, and that's just a really sticky tape from site, like an insulation tape. Now guys, now you've got that bottom bottle, you just start slipping them on like so. Perfect, there you go. Alright, and at the top, clip in. And there you have it, guys. That's it. That's how you start doing it. And then it's just one by one by one, and then eventually you get your final recap on the plastic bottle greenhouse. Hope you enjoyed the video. Anything you didn't see that you think, oh, I've got a question, just message me in the comments below or DM me on Instagram and I'm happy to help. Just wanted to say really why I built it out of plastic instead of like a glass greenhouse that you can pick up for like 100-200 quid. Mainly the fact this is such a big problem, as well as, you know, this is why you're probably watching a video, you're trying to see alternative ways of using plastic, reducing your waste, and with this, like, I wouldn't have done it otherwise if I didn't think it was going to work. So you've got the 2 layers of the plastic, it being in a bottle, so you're going to get the sun coming through, the UVA, getting a double, it's got to penetrate a double layer, so your plants are getting UVA at all times, and also this, there being gap in between, you're getting air from both ends. There's going to be air trapped in there, and that, with the sun hitting it, it's going to be warmed up, so there's going to be a geothermal effect, like there's going to be an insulation level all the way around, creating that extra few degrees in the greenhouse, which will extend your growing season. Yeah, just before I forget, the last thing I forgot, put a door on it. I mean, it sounds simple, but just all you got to do is just put a frame, just so you can attach your hinges. Again, they were upcycled from hinges I had left over at home, and then yeah, just put a little door handle on. And as I see there, I was getting small bottles donated, so yeah, just make use of them, and then I've put them as the door.